The Golden Nugget Invitational Prestige Singles is one of Australia's premier lawn bowls tournaments. For more than 2 decades, the sport's best exponents have converged on the magnificent Tweed Heads Bowls Club to compete in one of the sport's pinnacle events. And the fans come in their droves. Some arrive as early as 5 a.m. to be assured of the best seat in the house. Today on Fox Sports, we present highlights of the 2009 Golden Nugget, featuring a stellar cast of men and women bowlers. Our coverage proudly supported by the Foster's Group, North Estate Agents and Hensel Light Australia. Yes, great to have your company wherever you might be watching on Fox Sports right around Australia. Welcome to Tweed Heads, the place that some people refer to as God's country. It is magnificent weather conditions prevailing for our highlights coverage of the 2009 Golden Nugget, an event established back in 1986, now firmly established as one of the leading lawn bowls tournaments in Australia. Peter Halloran joins me as expert commentator on our coverage. Pete, let's firstly have a look at the men's semi-finals. Steve GLASSON defeating Nathan Rice by 25-16, and in the other match, Lee SCHRANER, the Victorian, too good for Corey Daly, 25-22. How do you see the final going?
Look, Dave, Steve GLASSON, great bowler, former world champion. He's going to be hard to beat. He's known as one of the old boys in the field now, 40 years old this year, but great fighter, Steve. Lee, a young Victorian, gone back-to-back champion of champions. I think it's only been done once before by the great Glenn Bazisto. But too hard to pick, Dave. I'd say down to the wire, maybe 25-24. I'll go with the old bloke. Good
to see you not sitting on the fence anyway. No. And of course in the next hour you'll also see highlights of the women's final, and now the results of the women's semi-finals on screen. Jo Edwards, the New Zealander, too good for Rebecca Quayle, the score 25-21. And in the other match, THERESE Hastings from Western Australia defeating Queensland's Lynn Cuthbertson. With me is Graham Richards, another one of our expert commentators. How do you see the women's going, Graham?
Well, this is going to be an excellent exhibition of bowls because they're both experienced. They've both got high credentials, won state titles recently. They've won world indoors. So we've got a great match on our hands, and I'd have to go for Jo. She came in as favourite, the New Zealand champion, and I think that THERESE is going to have a wonderful match with her.
Well done, look forward to working with you. Once again, great to have your company. Welcome to our coverage. This is a really big lawn bowls tournament coming your way. To start proceedings officially, let's now introduce Johnny Veen, who's standing by to talk to the legendary Steve GLASSON.
Yes, thanks, David. I am with former world champion Steve GLASSON. Steve, congratulations on getting through to the finals once again.
Johnny, fantastic. It's just really looking forward to the big game. You know, Lee's in good form, so we did play earlier in the event, and I managed to get over the line, but he wasn't on his best on that occasion, so I'm thinking it'll be a lot tougher this afternoon.
Good, as the finals usually are, Steve.
Absolutely.
You were a dual winner, of course, of this event, 1995, and then won again in 2007.
Yeah.
12-year gap there, Steve. What was the story?
Yeah, you're making me feel old by saying that. So, I think, it just goes to show how tough it is to win this event. And I think, Kelvin's got the record now with 3 wins. This is actually my 7th Nugget final in that time. So, hoping that experience will sort of see me through this afternoon. But, it's a really tough event to win, and I just can't wait to get out there and have a crack at it.
As you say, your 7th final, you 4 times runner-up.
Yes, yeah.
And this afternoon you can equal Kelvin's record, Kelvin Kirko's record. Kelvin,
right.
Of course, has won the event 3 times.
That's right. I mean, it'd be a great sledge. Kelvin and I are very good mates, so if I can catch him and make it 3 apiece, well, it's some good sledging material there as well. So, but, it's going to be tough. Lee's in good touch.
And it'll make it good for next year, mate, if that can happen too.
Well, hopefully I've already done enough to get another invite back next year. So I've been coming here for quite some period of time now. But look, Tweed Heads is like my second home. I've had 15, 20 years, I suppose, of coming here and competing both indoor and outdoor, and it's been my favourite hunting ground. So, anytime I can get back to Tweed, I'm extremely delighted.
Following its inauguration in 1986, the prestigious Golden Nugget has emerged as one of the most sought-after trophies on the annual Lawn Bowls calendar. Over a long period of time, this event has been won by the who's who of bowls. And when competition began several days ago, the 2009 event comprised arguably the greatest lineup of competitors the tournament has ever seen. For the first time, the Golden Nugget has gone truly national this year, with all state champions in men and women's competition invited to compete for massive prize money stakes and the prestige associated with winning one of the sport's major events. In addition to the various state champions taking part, the women's field includes New Zealand's Jo Edwards, who won the 2008 World Pairs Championship. Jo meets WA's Therese Hastings in today's women's final. A major reason for the success of the annual Golden Nugget is the host venue itself. The Tweed Heads Bowls Club is a magnificent venue that is easily among the leading bowls clubs in Australia. The club's facilities playing host to hundreds of thousands of patrons and competitors each year, and is it any wonder? In the sport of lawn bowls, it doesn't get much bigger in domestic competition than the Golden Nugget Invitational Prestige Singles. And you've got a front row seat as the nation's best strut their stuff and what has become a very big stage. Yes, indeed, it is a gargantuan stage in national lawn bowls. The Golden Nugget capacity crowd, beautiful weather conditions, the greens are perfect, and in the next hour you'll see action from men's and women's. We'll interchange between both of them, and our coverage commences with the women's, with Jo Edwards leading by 21-9, and Peachy's been dominant from the outset of proceedings here.
Yes, Dave, as we can see, it's probably the difference between an international and an interstate player. Here's Jo once again, a great bowl. She's a wonderful player, one of the best in the world, Dave.
And Graham Richards, are you surprised by the manner in which Jo has been able to build up such a big lead?
Yes, I thought that Therese would hold her own with Jo, but obviously it's been a matter of touch, and Jo's found her touch, and Therese has obviously got to catch up, and playing catch-up bowls is not as easy as when you were in front.
Conditions are very still here today.
Another great day on the Gold Coast, Dave, and they call this winter. I mean, no wonder we get big crowds here. It is known as the Mecca of bowls, the Gold Coast, and this is probably one of the premier clubs in the world.
Jo Edwards, Graham was telling me earlier, she in fact heading into this tournament hadn't bowled since April, so that makes her performance here quite extraordinary.
Yes, it seems as though she's one of these people that has the capacity to come out fresh, and has proved it today.
Yes, mate. Well, look, Graham, 22-9. I mean, we've both played enough bowls to know that once they get that far in front, you've got to start doing something now. And the principle of the game, as we know, Graham, once again, is drawing close. Now, Jo is at a different level at the moment, so I think it's going to be very tough for Therese to get back, mate.
Yeah, she's going to have a work cut out to do that, Peter. But bowls is a game where it can go in patches, as we know, and if Therese can keep putting that bowl that close to start with, well, it gives her a good chance to claw her way back into the game.
Jo Edwards, 2008 World Pairs gold medalist. She performed well at the Golden Nugget last year, and is obviously stepped up another notch in 2009, a top international player for many years, and obviously came into this tournament as one of the pre-event favourites, and she's certainly not disappointed anybody, has not failed on the expectations that I guess the top line bowlers are used to people placing on them.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Well, it's funny, but as Graham just mentioned, now with this end here, as you can see, Dave, now that first bowl, and there's Therese's second bowl, is so important to put pressure on your opposition. Now, Jo's played the first one narrow and light, so Therese will be hoping that this is the end where she can get a few shots and get back in this game.
Shortly on our coverage, we'll hear from Therese Hastings and play a section of an interview that was pre-recorded by Johnny Veen ahead of the start of play in the women's finals, and we'll also hear from Jo, and indeed when we transfer our attention to the men's final, which is happening simultaneously on an adjoining rink, we'll also hear from Lee SCHRANER, the opponent facing the huge task of trying to overcome Steve GLASSON, who is a dead-set legend in Australian sport, and that's not overstating it too much.
No, it's not, Dave. He is a great bowler and a great bloke too, but his record stands alone in Australian bowls. He has been dominant in this game in Australia for probably the last 10 years, Graham.
Yeah, it probably goes back a little bit further than that, Peter. But as we always say, one of the best blokes as well as one of the best bowlers.
22-9. What does Therese do to overcome this huge deficit?
Well, as you can see, Jo Edwards, superstar, 2 down, pressure's on. She's on the springboard. She only needs 3 more shots to go out and win this title. And she's put one right on it, which makes it very difficult for THERESE to get back in this.
THERESE was the 2008 Australian indoor runner-up and state skipper for many years too. Has won the state singles title in 3 consecutive years, 04, 05, 06, and also won the West Australian state triples and fours this year. So very much in form approaching the Golden Nugget, and obviously that's one of the reasons he was invited to compete.
Yeah, they make them tough in WA, Dave. There's an old saying that you've got to be good over there because there's a long way to go back.
That's exactly right. A lot of distance between Western Australia and Tweed Heads where we are now. In a moment, some action from the men's. Firstly, Johnny Veen spoke to THERESE Hastings earlier today.
THERESE, congratulations on your first appearance in the Golden Nugget final for the ladies.
Thank you.
You must be excited about that.
Oh, over the moon. Yeah, love playing in these sorts of competitions. Don't get many opportunities, but I'm loving it.
And of course you are from Western Australia. How are you enjoying the Eastern Coast greens?
Well, I'm not looking forward to going home to the winter that Perth's been having in the last few weeks, and the greens are magnificent, and of course we're not playing on our grass very much at the moment at home, so it's just fantastic weather. Why would you be anywhere else, sort of?
So that was Johnny Veen with THERESE Hastings earlier, and of course the women's final not going the way that she would have planned. Now we'll focus on the men for the next few minutes, and we pick up the action with GLASSON leading by 15 to 12. So Lee Schraner is hanging in there and has got a fair bit of self-belief against arguably the biggest name in the sport.
That's right, Dave. Now, you could say that we're probably halfway through this game. These champions, when they get to around that 15 mark, they know there's 10 to go. They start putting the foot down. They try and get the edge. So both will be in the zone at the moment, full concentration, trying to get past that 15 first, edge their way to 20. And then once they get to 20, they know it's only 5 shots away to the trophy.
In saying that, Peter, the fact that Steve is in the lead at this stage shows that Lee is going to have to be the first to put the pressure on, because Steve is a very good finisher in top line bowls.
Yeah, I agree, mate. That's how he's made his reputation. He goes for the throat when he gets close to the line. Now, Lee knows that he's got to survive here and he must draw closer. Now, it looks like he's holding shot at the moment, but he needs to get one a lot closer than that, Graham.
Yeah, there's a good bowl coming in here. If it just goes around the front of that little Steve's yellow bowl there, it's going to make it very hard for Steve to play another draw shot and beat him.
Lee Schraner has been an outstanding form as we watch the action continue. Made history by winning back-to-back Victorian Champion of Champions singles crowns this year. He's also the current state skipper and a youngster with plenty of potential in the sport. And that's an important point. There are a lot of young bowlers.
That's right, yes. Look, over the last few years, I have marketed the game towards younger people. And at the end of the day, Dave, you give me a game where you can go out, you can have 2 or 3 generations competing against each other in the same game. They're both playing for the same prize money. They might be just out playing social bowls with grandma and grandpa, mum and dad. I mean, it's a great game outside, in the sun, in the fresh air.
Graham, I alluded earlier to the fact there's very, very little breeze to speak of here. Perhaps a slight breeze coming from the east, just worrying the flags on the flag poles, but certainly not impacting on the players.
No, usually if you've got a bit of a breeze, they select one hand to play, which is easier than the other. But as Steve has just shown here, he's playing the backhand coming away, where he played the forehand coming down first. So it just depends where the opposition's bowls are.
You're watching highlights of the 2009 Golden Nugget, close-up shot of Lee Schraner, the concentration. Watching very carefully. And this Golden Nugget presentation on Fox Sports, proudly supported by Hensel Light, the Foster's Group, and also North Real Estate here at Tweed Heads. In fact, North has had a long involvement with this tournament. And the organisers, the Tweed Heads Bowls Club, would also like to acknowledge the support of Yellowtail and Lifestyle Hearing Centres.
Yes, Dave, as we can see, Stevie GLASSON stretched the lead a bit more there. 5 shots in front. This is where he is very hard to beat, Steve. He concentrates hard. He likes to get out of that sun. Probably hasn't got the best skin in the world for sun, Dave. I think that's why he likes to get out quick, close the game down and get inside.
17-12. He leads at this juncture. Still plenty of action ahead in today's highlights coverage. So SCHRANER, as I said, he was quietly confident heading into this final against Steve GLASSON.
He's got one of the most tightest controlled delivery stances that you'll see in bowls. He does the same thing, same routine, and this what makes him such a very good draw bowler. Steve's going to play a very aggressive, an aggressive shot here. Played up well, right on the button. That's a fantastic shot, following it right into the ditch, sitting on top.
Brilliant. Unbeatable, Dave. You get a touch there and set on the jack in the ditch, you cannot beat that. You can get twice the second shot.
The crowd certainly enjoying the action this afternoon, and why wouldn't they? A class field of red hot cast doing battle in the final of the Golden Nugget in the respective men's and women's. We'll take you back to the women's final in a moment, where Jo Edwards continues to lead comfortably over THERESE Hastings.
Well, that last bowl from Lee was just a little bit unlucky. He sat right on the edge of the ditch. The bowl stayed there for a second and then just fell in. So that bowl doesn't count, and where it would have been a very hard bowl for Steve to beat to get another counter.
Well, this is it. I mean, Lee's in defensive mode now, Graham. Now, you know, it's just a matter of staying in the game. There's an old saying, keep them out there for as long as you can when you're getting beat. Just get one at a time. Keep them out there. The rhythm could change. Gives Lee the opportunity to get back into the game. Hopefully Steve can go off a little bit. So that's what he's trying to do. Get the second shot so he only goes down one.
Yeah, well, he certainly left Steve a fair bit of room this time.
Steve GLASSON, when talking to Johnny Veen earlier in our telecast, alluded to the sledging value involved potentially today. How much gamesmanship applies to lawn bowls?
Well, they're all good mates, Dave. Now, these blokes have been around the traps a long time. They've been playing with each other since they were juniors. Now, if they're 40 years old now, you know, you're going back 25 years ago.
Earlier today, Johnny Veen spoke with the Victorian Lee SCHRANER. Let's hear from him.
Lee, congratulations on your win in the semi-finals today. It's a big effort, your first time, I believe, here at Tweed Heads Bowls Club in the Golden Nugget.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I just came up here with no real expectations, just trying to be competitive and do my best, and to come this far, and I'm really looking forward to the final.
That's fantastic, and you just created history in winning the State Champion of Champions singles event in 2007 and 8, 2008 and 2009, and that has created history.
Yeah, it's about 50 odd years since someone's done it back to back, and it was a big thrill for me to do it back to back. You know, you got to win a lot of games to get through, and all those matches I've played the last couple of years have made my singles game better, and hopefully in good stead for the final now.
Yes, Lee SCHRANER, qualified accountant by profession, chatting with Johnny Veen, who's doing an excellent job conducting the interviews for us down on the green today. Now we go back to highlights of the women's final with Jo Edwards well and truly on top. She has been dominant from the outset here. THERESE will put this one down to experience. So as the action continues here, again a big thank you to North, Hensel Light and the Fosters Group, assisting the host venue, the Tweed Heads Bowls Club, in staging the 2009 Golden Nugget. At this juncture of proceedings in the women, it is all Jo Edwards.
Yes, no, that's right, David. Very hard for THERESE to get back from here, but she's a fighting Western Australian girl. She's got one shot there. Hopefully she can add. As we know, Graham, very hard when you're this far behind, just that extra pressure.
It is a lot of extra pressure, Peter, but what Jo will be trying to do here with her next bowl is just set up something jack high or a little bit closer, so that she's in a position to finish off the game with an aggressive shot to try and take it out as quick as she can.
That's right. She's on the springboard, only needs two shot, Dave. So what she'll do is build the head, get bowls close, and hopefully try and go out with the last bowl and make two.
That's probably a little bit shorter than what she would have liked.
Yeah.
A short bowl in front may restrict her from taking aggressive action this end, but she can be patient and just bide her time while she gets the right opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. She'll just have a look. If she can't get it here, even if she goes down, as long as she only goes down 1, 2 max, she'll be happy. Just 2 away.
The bowler's currently operating from the northern end of the main green here at the Tweed Heads Bowls Club. Can I just give a credit where it's due to Greg Kelly and the entire management, the committee, the board of this club, including the chairman Peter Howell and obviously Ross Baylor, the CEO. Congratulations to all concerned. This tournament has gone without a hitch. It's been going for a long time, and this club continues to lead the way with innovations in this sport. I mean, not only do they have arguably the best outdoor greens in the country, but a magnificent indoor facility too.
That's right, Dave. And let's not forget the boys that get dirty too, the greenkeepers, Dave. Great blokes. I know them all. They're terrific fellows. They're out there just on dawn, preparing the surfaces, getting all the seats rubbed down, so everyone's nice and happy and comfortable for the day.
I can't forget the boys that prepare the greens. That was remiss of me. You're watching the 2009 Golden Nugget. The women's final is reaching a crescendo. And what we'll do now, before this all culminates, we'll go to an interview recorded earlier today with Joe Edwards by Johnny Veen.
Thank you, Joe. Congratulations. I'm with Joe Edwards from New Zealand. And Joe, you're in the finals of the Golden Nugget for the first time.
Yeah, certainly am, and it's fair to say it's a pleasure to be here.
Terrific. As you know, that you can become the first New Zealand lady player to win the Golden Nugget this afternoon. That would be a great thrill, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would be. You know, it's we get 1 or 2 invited each year, and to be the first one would be really, really cool. But you know, another game, and Therese's great opposition, so hopefully.
Good, and of course you are the current world indoor champion for 2009.
Yeah. I went along to that tournament in April this year and had a hell of a game against Karen Murphy in the final, and you know, pretty much one of the best games I've been involved with for sheer excitement and you know, really, really good bowls, and you know, it was really great to win that tournament. Yeah.
Yes, we spoke about that earlier, the fact that Edwards hadn't bowled since April. More of that later when we pick up the final stages of the women's final in the Golden Nugget. Right now it's back to the men. You're watching the action from the Tweed Heads Bowls Club in perfect conditions.
12-19, Dave. Need a good start, Lee does, and he's got that. He's got to keep plodding away here, try and get shot on every end. If not, drop one. Stevie's getting close to the mark, so Lee's got a great start here, and Stevie will be chasing him because he knows how important it is to keep getting that shot and go out too.
Well, they both changed over to the backhand for this end. Lee has put his first ball fairly close, just behind the kitty, and looks like he's going to add another one to that. No, it's not coming in quite enough.
Oh, still running. Geez, the greens are running well, aren't they?
They're magnificent at the moment, Peter.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, great surface, great day, no wind, big crowd.
Passion of the fans is extraordinary. Out and about this morning, I wasn't talking to a couple that live here in Tweed Heads, and they got here at 5 a.m. this morning. That is keen.
Yeah, they're keen, Dave. I mean, they know the game here, have a lot of bowlers on the Gold Coast. They do support the tournaments very well. There's thousands of people come here to see these big tournaments, and this is the big one. This is the epic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of passion goes into them too. They're all fairly much experts on the game. They like to stand there and tell people what they're doing and what they did wrong, and then they go out and practice it themselves.
12 bowlers in both men's and women's invited to participate in the Golden Nugget for 2009. We watched Steve GLASSON operating from the northern end, bowling towards the club end of this facility. And this tournament commencing on Monday, 5 rounds in total, leading up to the semi-finals and, of course, the finals we're watching this afternoon. The semi-finals held earlier today.
Well, look at this, David. The champ's gone off a bit here, Graham. Now Lee's holding 2 and drawing for 3. He would love to make another one, mate, to keep in this game.
Interesting, they chose to remain on the same hand with the bowls of Steve's on the coming in, but having played that hand, he's confident of not putting one of those bowls up. So he's in a good position here. Steve's got to play an aggressive shot to get out of this.
Yeah, well, I think he's prepared to take a few risks here too, Graham. Being 7 behind now, Steve is playing an on-shot here. Let's see if he can get a result. See if it's going with him or not. Now, he's made contact but slid off. Now, it looks like Lee's holding 3 shots here, right?
Yeah, it could be 3 shots, at least 2 shots, Peter.
Well, there you go. The marker's got 3 up, so he's back in there. It's only 4 behind now.
Of course, Steve GLASSON is a 2 times winner of the Golden Nugget. His first victory in 1995, pardon me, and most recently 2007, has been there in the runner-up position numerous times in 2004, 1998, 1996 and 1992. He said in the interview earlier he's been coming up here a long time. He meant it.
Yeah, well, look, all his life has been lawn bowls, and he is a greenkeeper by trade. So he's been on the grass with his job, with his career, and he is probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the country that's made a great living out of it too, Graham.
Yeah, and the other factor too is that Steve is an ex-Queenslander, and also the fact that the Tiftwharf grass that is predominant in Queensland is a little bit different to what Lee is used to, because coming from Victoria they have a different surface, and Tiftwharf is a different line, and it does take a little bit of getting used to, Pete.
No, it does, Graham. And as we know, all you need is a bit of cloud cover and the grass will drop by a yard. And a lot of the southerners get caught out on that. But here we see the champ. He is going for the line here. He's holding 2 at the moment. Lee needs to get something close.
You're watching highlights of the 2009 Golden Nugget from the Tweed Heads Bowls Club, presented proudly by the Foster's Group, Hensel Light and North Real Estate here at Tweed Heads, long-time supporters, all of those corporations that I've just mentioned. And thanks also to Lifestyle Hearing Centres and Yellowtail for their associate support. 1915 here as the men's final continues.
Well, here's Lee. He's still fighting hard, Lee. Now, Steve's last bowl was uncharacteristically bad for Steve. It was wide and short. Now, you don't see that happen very often, especially at this stage of a game. Now, Lee is not happy with that. That's 2 short bowls, Graham.
Yeah, so I think the pressure's getting to him. He's realising that unless he can come up to match Steve on around about the 20 mark, he's going to find it very difficult to take this victory out.
Okay, here comes the former world champion, Steve GLASSON. Very close to another counter here. Now, that's 3 shots. Now, he is currently, unless it changes, sitting on 22 and 3 to go. So Lee really needs to make contact here.
Guys, tell our viewers, the uninitiated perhaps, about the bowls themselves. Obviously, Pete, you know a bit about that. Hensel Light manufactured.
Yeah, that's correct. The only lawn bowls manufacturer in the world, Dave. First company to make the first compound bowl. That's their claim to fame. The founder of the company went from turning down wood and rubber to thinking in the late 20s, we have a new product out in the market, Bakelite. If I could make a lawn bowl out of that, it would be a more stable substance than wood or rubber. And hence, the name Henselite was born. The bowl itself, you can hold it up and you'll see the profile. One side is slightly larger than the other, Dave, and that's where your bias comes from. Leading brand in the world, Australian made. It's a very proud family from Victoria.
Thank you for that insight. Now, business end of proceedings here in the women's, Graham.
Yes, it's real crunch time now, 24-9. There's no margin of error for THERESE. She's got to make every bowl count, and let's hope she can put some more pressure back onto Joe.
Yes, I think we've both been in this position, Graham, and it's not a good position to be in. Eh? You just got to keep fighting, and you just hope some things go your way. But you know, you're looking down the barrel at 9.24, mate, and it's going to be very tough for THERESE. If you're a gambling man, I'd say Joe Edwards would be about 20 to 1 on at the moment, Dave.
I reckon you're right. Another major trophy. Let's be honest, Joe Edwards has got one hand on the trophy at the moment, the other hand's on the cheque.
Yeah, it certainly looks like going overseas, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's big money here too. This type of money, thousands and thousands of dollars. That's a very healthy paycheck.
Is the climate in New Zealand conducive to a thriving lawn bowls industry?
Well, they run different surfaces over there, Dave, as Graham alluded to earlier. There's a story that down at Ocean Shores, northern New South Wales, some of the boys smuggled in some tiff dwarf grass illegally, and they planted it on their bowling green. So to all those down at Ocean Shores, a very good hello to you from Tweed, just down the road. But what happened was it spread from there, Dave. Now, in New Zealand, they run 2 or 3 different surfaces with a waxy leaf, and it's a lot faster too, and a different draw.
Oh, what a magnificent shot from Therese.
She's a fighter, right?
Yes, that's what the New Zealand spirit, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. The old WA girls, they're tough, and the boys too, but that was a great shot.
Therese enjoyed it too. She's not had that much to enjoy about this final, and she certainly became animated there, and the crowd embracing it too. So Edwards almost has the job done here.
Yeah, well, it's do or die for Therese, and that's what she did. Sydney or the bush. Now, Jo can still go out here if she gets close enough. As it comes home. Oh, the crowd's leaning over. Keen as mustard.
I'll sell you the whole seat here at Tweed Heads Bowls Club, but you only need the edge when it comes to the Golden Nugget.
That's right, mate. Yep, and that's where Stevie Glasson loves that name. That's the name of his bowl, the Allmark Edge. Okay, well, now we hope that Therese gets the shot here and keep this game going and keep the crowd captivated for a while longer, don't?
Well, she's certainly holding 2 shots at the moment, so whether Jo can come in and beat those bowls, she's only got about 40 centimetres to do so, but she's got a class of her own, so she'll give it a good try.
Well, Graham, is this the one? This is the last bowl on this end. Jo needs 1. Therese is holding 2. Okay, we're going to find out very shortly. Here it comes. Now, she doesn't want to go into the ditch, but she's got to get around this one.
She's got a magnificent result, Peter. What a magnificent result.
And goes out. That's it. There's our winner.
So, the women's final, 2009 Golden Nugget. The champion, New Zealand's Jo Edwards, defeating Western Australia's Therese Hastings. And hopefully Therese enjoyed the experience. But Jo Edwards, emphatic victor. Great effort by Edwards. Let's recap them on the Golden Nugget scoreboard. Edwards 25, too good for Hastings 9, with thanks to the Fosters Group, Hensel Light and North. Great to have your company wherever you're watching on Fox Sports around Australia. Welcome back to the Golden Nugget for 2009. We have just seen New Zealand's Jo Edwards win the women's section. And right now we'll focus back on the men's. And things are certainly getting very interesting between Steve Glasson and Lee SCHRANER. Just a look before we do that at the previous winners of the Golden Nugget going back the last decade or so. You can see that Steve Glasson, who's one of the combatants today in the men's final, was victorious here in 2007, but very much a list of the who's who of lawn bowls talents on screen. The women's, well, obviously Jo Edwards is the most recent addition, and prior to her, Carmen Anderson. And once again, gentlemen, a very, very impressive list of talent on screen.
Unbelievable, Dave. You go through the list. Carmen Anderson, world champion. City, world champion. Lindsay, world champion. Maria Rigby, Commonwealth Games singles rep. Kerry-Ann Davies, Commonwealth Games. They're all there. This is the big one.
22-15. Steve Glasson leads the Victorian Lee SCHRANER. Not a person has left the stadium at Tweed Heads in anticipation, I suspect, of Glasson adding yet another major title to what has been a stellar career.
Yes, Lee's going to be battling now. He hasn't changed his demeanour at all. He hasn't changed his delivery, and he's concentrating on getting his first bowl as close as possible to try and put a bit of pressure on Steve.
But with our new viewers here, Dave, just to let them know what's happening, that you've got 4 bowls in a set. They've got 4 bowls each. Now, once you get inside of that number 4, that's when you start saying, I can go out in this one end. I need 3 shots. If I don't get the first one close, I'll try and get past Jack high, maybe move the Jack and make the 3. So Steve will be going very hard to get the 3 on this end. If not 1, 2, 1, he will go as hard as he can to go out as fast as he can.
Leah's been forced to change hands and go out on the backhand, which is
great style, Graham, isn't it? Like, technically, for all those that are looking at this game for the first time, go down to your bowls club. Remember Lee SCHRANER. He's got a great technical delivery, 90% of his weight going forward. Get down low, nice smooth rhythm, backswing, follow through.
So the stance that Graham was alluding to before, that Lee SCHRANER is almost copybook-like, in layman's terms again, what is copybook?
Well, you know, there's different coaching ethoses, but if it's technical book, you're looking at Lee SCHRANER. What you've got to do is be as comfortable as possible. You know, a little bit relaxed in the knees, slightly bent over, hold the bowl where it's comfortable. Most coaches will tell you to have the longest finger, the middle finger, on the bottom of the bowl. That's the last point of contact. If that leaves the longest finger, the last point of contact, should get away smooth. But you can see Lee, he's got that grip on the side of the bowl. So it's a little bit around the side, but he does it the same every time, and that's the secret. He knows where it's going. Here's an on shot. He needs to make contact. He doesn't want to get his own bowl. Well, unfortunately, he has.
Graham, in terms of the amount of time spent on the green in preparation for a tournament like this, is it a case of practice makes perfect even when you're at the top level, or are they playing enough tournaments every week that practice in addition to that is not really relevant?
No, practice is always relevant because it's like golf. You develop little bad habits, and you can you practice those bad habits if you can try to take them out of the game. But if you don't practice, you come in with those bad habits and you'll reinforce them.
I was looking at your resume before we came on air today. You've had a bit of success up here, to say the least, Graham.
Yes, I've enjoyed my bowls career and never aspired to the level of Steve and those boys, but I enjoy the competition of it and the camaraderie with it. It's a great sport.
2 humble ears, Graham Richards, real tough nut on the Gold Coast and interstate. Everyone knows that. Champion bowler, Graham. You've had a great career, mate. I remember locking horns with you a few times.
Yeah, we've had a few battles, Peter.
We have, mate.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, always had good fun. A lot of respect for your opponent. Graham does have, and always
SCHRANER disappointed there, as those pictures graphically showed.
Yes, he played an aggressive shot, which he's got to do. He can't afford to just try and outdraw Steve. He's got to try and make his own play. Put the kitty in the ditch was the shot he tried. Unfortunately, it didn't come off for him.
Yeah, but I suppose the good news is too that he was 2 or 3 down. Stevie was looking at winning the game, taken a couple out, now only 1 down. Steve can't win the game from here, but he can certainly draw another shot and be 1 off winning. So he'll be going hard to get this extra shot.
On the Foster's Group scoreboard, 22-15 to GLASSON. Again, thanks to North and Henselite, in conjunction with Lifestyle Hearing Centres and Yellowtail Wines. So 23-15 GLASSON. And a change of ends now as the action continues from the Tweed Heads Bowls Club.
Yes, the mat has been taken right back to make it a ditch-to-ditch, which we call that's the longest end you can play in bowls. The kitty is put on the tee where at the other end of the mat, the other end from the mat, and the mat is put on the tee, which is from the ditch. It's 2 metres and giving you a ditch-to-ditch situation.
Yes, what we call desperation stuff. I mean, this is where you think, what can I do? I've tried every tactic. Let's go as long as possible, which we're at maximum length now. And Lee's put a great first bowl down. Now he's going to try and work off that. He's got one very close. At the same time, we've got to remember that if Steve is in a position to attack, he will try and look for Lee's shot bowl or the jack in the ditch. And as he played earlier, there was an unbeatable bowl where you can pick that jack up and sit on it. And that is impossible to beat unless you've touched the jack earlier and you have a toucher on the green. Now, this is like another good bowl here. Well, there's a couple. And closes up the jack for that drive.
He's still left a little bit of room for himself, but Steve is playing the same hand that he played with his first bowl. He hasn't bothered changing. He's looking to sit the back bowl of Lee's. He's coming in very nicely too. This is a magnificent.
Oh, great bowl here.
What a bowl from Steve.
You guys know Lee and Steve particularly well. Which one of the two would have been the more nervous, the more keyed up heading into this final?
Definitely Lee. Stevie's been there before. You know, he's been around a long time. He's older than Lee. Lee, first time in the Nugget field. And as a lot of the players will tell you, it's quite overwhelming, that experience, because all their bowling career, they look at one day getting in the Nugget.
One of the pinnacles in the sport. So SCHRANER from the club end of the Tweed Heads Bowls Club. The copybook stance again,
yes,
there for all to see.
Lee has done a lot of coaching. He's a coach of the club that he belongs to. So therefore he walks the talk, to say the least, with his mannerisms and his coaching style.
What a great try there. What a great try. I mean,
Unlucky not to slip around the corner there and take the shot off Steve.
yeah, people have got to realise, looking at this, you know, we're talking a very long distance here, and to use that weight control with the bias and to sit that close line, it's extremely skillful game. For those that haven't tried it, get down to your local bowls club, ask for your coach. Look, what's a better way of spending the afternoon? Throwing down a few bowls. If you get a bit thirsty, they've got plenty behind the bar to keep you happy.
Foster's Brands and Yellowtail.
Can't beat that, Foster.
Of course.
Good Aussie stuff.
While you're at it, buy some Henselite bowls in the souvenir shop and then strut down to the North Estate Agency and pick yourself up an investment property.
Buy a house, get a hearing aid, mate. It's all.
Oh, of course, there's got to be a lifestyle hearing aid too.
Well, you got the whole package here.
Greg Kelly standing behind us, belting us across the head. Plug the sponsors, he's saying. Bowls Development Manager here at Tweed Heads, does a great job.
Yeah, great bloke. Promotes the club so well. Okay, Lee. Now, we are starting to get a bit nervous, Lee will be. Got to keep concentrating, got to get close. Can't make too many mistakes. Get inside of Stevie's bowl and stop. Got to stop here.
Oh, sat on the bench.
Close.
Again, the disappointment of Lee SCHRANER.
Yeah, no, look, he's a poker face, like a lot of the champions. They won't let you know what's going on in their head. But, mate, he will not be feeling too good after that one.
Irrespective of the result today, great year for SCHRANER in 2009, epitomised by the fact that he's here today in the final of this event.
Yeah, I would suggest we'll see a lot of Lee. He'll certainly be back to try and capture this title, and he's got a nice manner about the lad too, and he should do well in bowls in Australia, and I guess he'll make a good international bowler too, I think.
Yeah, change of ends again. He's popular with his peers.
Yes, the consummate new professional. I think you'll find that he's probably given the profession a rest to concentrate on lawn bowls, especially the year before Commonwealth Games coming up. He is in the squad. The Australian selectors have been looking at him. As he said earlier, the first time in 50 years since the great Glenn Bazisto, a legend of the game, in Australia and Victoria especially, to win back champion and champion singles. And for those viewers that don't understand that, what that is you go to your club, you win the club singles championship. You are the number one in the club. That's 1 against 1. And then what you do is you go and play the champions of every other club in Victoria until there's one left. Now, that's Lee Schraner 2 years in a row. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a magnificent effort. And let's hope that he can put another bowl close here on playing the backhand still.
Well, I used the expression earlier with Joe Edwards. I'll say it again. Glasson has a hand on the trophy, the other hand on the cheque. I think it's about $6,000 first prize today in the men's, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's a good little birthday present for anybody.
Well, I tell you what, to think that you can go out and win $6,000 for playing lawn bowls, I reckon there's a few viewers saying, where's the bowls club?
Well, you were just saying before about Lee Schraner making the decision to let his profession, i.e. an accountant, take a back seat with lawn bowls becoming his priority. Why wouldn't you? What would you rather do?
Well, especially if you had a Golden Nugget every week. Right? Multiply that by about 50 weeks, you're doing about 300 grand a year. But look, unfortunately for the players, it doesn't happen every week. Now, the big events, they will chase them, not only in Australia, but around the world for the big money. Now, some of them you can get up to $50,000, $60,000 world indoors, Australian dollars.
Yes, it's big money available overseas.
That's it. And that's when you've got to play the best of the Brits, you know, the likes of Alex Marshall, 5 times world champion. And they are on that carpet indoor every day for hours. So the likes of Lee, they are looking at getting to that level interstate is at now, international, playing overseas, chasing the big money. And that's where you could probably say, hey, why would I worry about accountancy when I can get out there playing lawn bowls and make the same money?
As we watch Schraner in action again, I asked that question earlier about which one of the two players would have been the more nervous, because I did have a chat to Lee ahead of the final today, and he seemed remarkably calm given the challenge that lied ahead at that stage.
I think that's due to the type of bowls that Lee had been playing right throughout this tournament. He came out and played a match, the first match I saw, against Todd Simmons, one of the Victorian champions, and it was probably the most exciting game you'd ever watched. The bowls were magnificent, and that started Lee off, and I think that although he got beat in that game, it just proved to him that you know, he's in form, and that's what's brought him through to where he is today.
Yeah, I think he's naturally a pretty cool customer. I suppose crunching numbers and counting beans all day, that you know, you've got a pretty good head on your shoulders, and he seems like a real cool customer under any conditions. As I said earlier, poker face, full concentration. You know, he's got a good mind. He's an academic. So it looks like we've got a shot coming up here on the backhand. What type of shot have we got here? We might have a little bit of weight. He's looking for the white one, the jack, or push his own up. That's it.
2009 Golden Nugget champion.
There's the Golden
Steve
Nugget for
Glasson.
2009. Steve Glasson, the victor. So he wins this most prestigious tournament,
And
one
the ladies,
of the
of course,
jewels in the crown,
Joe Edwards
for the
from New
third
Zealand.
time in his career.
Yeah, congratulations, Stevie. He's a great bloke, great
Our,
champion.
presentation,
I
final
know that
ceremony
everyone
will
that
take
he's
place
run into
very, very shortly.
that has met
So please
Steve,
stay with us.
they
Our
wish him
closing
the best of
ceremony
luck all the
coming
time.
up
He's a
very
terrific
shortly.
fellow. And Lee, great champion also. A bit unlucky, but a great experience for him today.
He'll derive plenty out of the fact that he was able to play against one of the greats of the sport. So Glasson, the New South Welshman, 25, defeating the Victorian Lee Schraner, 19 in the men's final of the Golden Nugget. So Glasson emerging the victor comprehensively in the same way or similar way that Joe Edwards was able to win the women's earlier. Here is Johnny Veen with the winners.
Well, I'm with the winner of the 2009 Golden Nugget, Steve Glasson. Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, John. Look, it was hard going out there. I can't say it was one of those classic encounters, but, you know, typically Tweed heads, it gets that little bit of swirly breeze. The green was running incredibly well, so that just makes it a little bit tougher. But, mate, any win's a great win. I'm delighted to be the champion for this year.
That's fantastic. And, of course, now you've levelled Kelvin's.
Yeah, well, that's you know, it's taken both of us a lot of years to win 3. You know, so it just goes to show how hard it is to win. But delighted with that, and you know, we'll look forward to hopefully next year now. And I don't think anyone's ever defended the title, so that'll be a challenge that I'll sort of have a go at next year.
Fantastic. We look forward to it, Steve. Once again, congratulations and all the best until we see you next time. Thank you. Well, Joe, congratulations on being the ladies' champion in the 2009 Golden Nugget. How do you feel?
Yeah, pretty excited about it. You know, it's a great field and a great tournament, and to come out on top, you know, I've been here 4 or 5 years, and yeah, it's really, really great.
And as we mentioned earlier, of course, in our earlier interview, we spoke of if you were to win today, that you would be the first New Zealand lady to take that title.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Kiwi ladies have been invited over here, and you know, outstanding players. I just think it all fell into place this week for me, and I'm pretty pleased about it, to be fair.
And so you should be. We look forward to seeing you again next year, Joe. Congratulations once again.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you to Johnny with the winners, Steve Glasson and Joe Edwards. Peter Halloran, there he is, our commentary colleague down on the winners' presentation area, handing out the hardware. Graham, that leaves it to you and I to wrap up what has been a wonderful day and a great tournament.
Yes, I think the thing to notice in this one is the winners of both the ladies and the men's have gone through undefeated, and that's no mean feat in a field of this quality. Steve has come through with 5 wins plus 31. And Joe has come through with 5 wins plus 61, so that's quite a magnificent effort from both of those players.
Good to work with you today. Thank you very much, Graham. We'll see you next time. Joining us at the Tweed Heads Bowls Club, along with Peter Halloran, we thank him for his excellent insight and expert comments as well. There's Steve Glasson, the winner of the Golden Nugget. We do hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Thanks to the Fosters Group, Hensel Light and North. We'll see you next time.